Hi guys, it's Charlie here and welcome back to my vlog. This week we will be focusing on the coaching process. The recorded session involves 5 sailors approaching the competition stage of their season. The session is part of a larger periodised model, of which here is our current weekly microcycle. Today we are completing conditioning circuit 1, which due to the time of the season contains short repeated sprint intervals, including some exercises specific to the sport such as hike holds and sled pulls. This vlog will concentrate on areas in which my practice can improve in relation to the coaching process. The primary focus will be detailing the use of demonstrations in line with planned intervention styles, alongside a secondary focus on optimising the use of assisting coaching staff within a multidisciplinary team. Here we can see the start of the session, where as the athletes arrive they will begin their personalised warm-up plans, followed by writing up personal targets for the session ahead. I find this helps the athletes focus their efforts as well as keep their longer term targets fresh in their mind.
Okay, targets on the board, get a foam roller. We'll try and start in maybe 5-10 minutes.
As the athletes go through their warm-ups, it becomes apparent that one of the athletes is struggling to remember the exercises in the circuit due to being away for the last 2 weeks.
It's the same as before half term. You'll think I'll write it down. Arthur can't remember last week, let alone.
My initial response was to write it down in the hope of triggering his memory, including the coaching cues used for each exercise. This was swiftly followed by a joke about his memory, indicative of the coach-athlete relationship I share with this group. I feel like it is important to have a relaxed, enjoyable environment when the athletes are preparing for a session in order for it not to become tedious and stale. I also feel it is essential to be able to flick a switch where the athletes will then focus on the task in hand.
Right, we need targets on the board as well if you feel like you're pretty much ready.
One of my personal coaching targets over the last 12 to 18 months has revolved around the environment creation and helping athletes to take more responsibility for their own progression. I find the use of the individual daily or sessional targets helps to do this. I try to encourage them to write in as much detail as they like, and this will vary from session to session depending on how they are feeling.
Right, here's the order if you've forgotten. Arthur, are you happy with this stuff? Do you remember it now? It's written down or no? What's it? The only ones that you might not remember is... Yeah.
Here we have the athlete refreshing his memory of the 8-station circuit, where I then only demonstrate one exercise for him. In hindsight, this was naive of me, and it would have been preferential to demonstrate all exercises again with a confirmation of coaching points where required. Here I am about to brief the group for the session, where I tie in their personal targets to my targets for them. This includes a few additional, yet brief, demonstrations.
Okay, so the things I want us to focus on are, and they relate quite nicely through the exercises, so our back position on the rower, so make sure we're bending from our hip rather than our like mid-back, which a few of you have put on there, which is great. That also translates into here. It's keeping that nice, good posture, good position, and then once you're happy with that, try and really cycle through quicker. Okay, don't sort of take your time, and then again, try and really put pressure on yourself to absorb the load and then recycle it. Okay, and then as we move through, hike hold, self-explanatory, battle ropes, I'm happy for us to really work hard, go for it. And then we'll come back through and then we're on the sled again. Good back position, long pull. Okay, it's good start position, good finish position. Is everyone happy? Happy? Okay, sweet. Right, let's find an order. If someone starts on the rower and then we just siphon off from there. Right, ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Nice. Good, 10 seconds, good. Good, keep these shoulder blades together. Good, Ross. Core in tight, Ross. Time. Okay, nice job.
During the opening rounds, and especially at this stage of the season, I try to use positive encouragement and using positive language such as try to do this rather than don't do this when giving pointers.
On the sled pull. Remember how this one is?
Yeah, you stand, pull, walk back and away.
I briefly confirm if the athlete remembers an exercise and proceed to give him some targets.
Try and go all the way to the far wall and 5 pulls. That's your target, okay? Maybe 6.
The purpose of the outcome-related target set is to encourage the athlete to use the guided discovery method to produce an optimal long and powerful pull, including a lower body double extension.
Good, you can have a slight bend in your knees, just make it a bit more comfortable. Nice, Ross. Nice, Evie. Time!
It is worth noting at this point that this athlete has produced optimal movement patterns for this exercise in the past. However, we can see from this video that his pulls are quite short, not allowing time for maximal force production during this session.
Right, we've got 2.5 minutes rest or so. The clock will keep rolling and we're going to go on the 10. Just quickly in the break, can we have like so Arthur, can you show us like 2 pulls on here quickly? And everyone's going to watch. Cool, and then James, if you show us 2 pulls.
During the rest time between sets, I tried to correct my error of not using proper demonstrations before the first set. I have noticed that during the first set, one of the athletes displays a favourable technique, and I use him to demonstrate to allow a peer-to-peer comparison and learning. I feel this highlights a muddled coaching approach, and in retrospect it would have been more beneficial to either demonstrate before the start, as I've mentioned previously, or to allow the athlete to figure out their own method, which will challenge problem solving and has been shown to help retention of the skill further down the line.
Okay, so what I want all 5 of us to do is sort of gravitate slightly towards what James is doing and have really long position and then really powerful pull all the way through and just allow the sled to slide. Does that make sense? Okay, don't try and do it in as few as possible. I think James is on around 5, which is excellent, okay? So try and do it in as few strokes as possible, as few pulls as possible, okay, rather than short, sharp ones. Everyone happy?
I clarify the point I am making, and it seems to have helped this athlete with the skill. However, I stand by my previous point and feel I should have planned my intervention strategies better prior to the session in order to ensure progressive development from session to session and not just within sessions. One key aspect of the coaching process is ensuring full use of all resources available. It is only since watching the footage back of the session that I can see that the assistant coach is completely underutilised. One strategy I'll put in place to avoid this in the future will be to ensure there are some clear roles for each coach to allow the athletes optimal coaching. During sessions similar to this, I will consider dividing the coaching to allow for more focused and/or detailed interventions. The split could be one coach focusing on work rate with the other focusing on technique, or you could divide the athletes so that one coach is working with 2 or 3 athletes each, or each coach could stay with a certain piece of equipment. I feel the optimal strategy will be to vary between these approaches throughout the season. This will also tie into the planning of intervention styles, as without this being planned, one coach may be using a guided discovery or trial and error approach at the same time as another coach may be using a contradictory command style to learn the same skill. Thanks for listening to my vlog on the coaching process. We have progressed through a couple of my errors which I will look to improve on from this moment forwards, and I hope that you have also taken some things away from the video and found it useful. Until next time, goodbye.